Hello, my friends. This is Andy Falco Jimenez coming to you live from Yorba, California for the Andy Falco Show. It's a late night. What is it? 7:46 on a Saturday, a rainy Saturday. And I got tons of information coming at me like crazy. I will get into that in just a little bit. But this show in particular is about making PYLUSD, which is Placentia Yorba Unified School District, great again. I'm not sure when it was great. Over the last 20 years, I've seen a decline for many, many years. And so because I've had kids in the district and it just continued to fall, and then COVID happened, and then we all discovered why. We had a large number of people, incompetent people, in regard to the superintendent, executive staff, to trustees that have been on the board for far too long. And to this day, we're realizing that many of them still don't know what they're doing, even though they've been on the school board for many, many years. And so that was discovered through COVID. Then we found out that we had the teachers unions involved, the California Teachers Association, the NEA, the National Educators Association, and of course the horrid Association of Placentia Linda Educators, which is our local union, and just not great people. And so we discovered that. And so we're going to be talking about what's happening now, which is making this district great. And it could be again, because there's probably a time in our history that it was really good. But it's going to be, as time goes on, it's going to be better than, I truly believe if we continue on this path, we may be the #1 district in the country at some point. And I truly believe, I told Dr. Alex Cherniss this when I first met him. I said, I don't understand how it is that many people, including the APLE and CTA, are satisfied that the schools in California, and that includes the Placentia Yorba Unified School District schools, that they were satisfied with being in the thousands of in relationship to where they placed in competency, in grades, and in graduation, in attendance, that they would go, yay, we're 1,500th in the United States. And I would say, why are they cheering that? I mean, I really don't understand. I just told, I said, why aren't we #1? Why have we never strived to be #1? Everybody's going, yes, we're so high, and they're not, but we're going to get into that. First, I want to tell you about my sponsors. LifeWise, or LifeWise is the name of the company. It's a Christian-based company. They say Jesus Christ is their CEO. It's a great supplement company that will help you with sleep, inflammation, even beauty. I'm actually 130, but you could never tell because I'm using the products. Oh, I just realized I don't have my light on. Probably best. I don't have my light on. But anyway, I think we'll get through this. It's not horrible. You can see me somewhat. So, but go to LifeWise, and there's some great products there. Just go through and look at them. If you buy or purchase one of the products and you don't like it, you can return it. And StreamYard is the product that I'm using to go live now. I love it. I've been with these guys since the beginning. Two great guys started it. They partnered with another bigger company, but they have not lost the greatness. The thing that made it great was that it's a small company, and they listen to their users and the people who use it. And fantastic. But go to getstreamyardnow.com to try it. If you have your own show you want to do on whatever, if you have a hobby perhaps or something you want to do, go and use StreamYard. Go to getstreamyardnow.com, and you'll get to use it for free for a period of time until you get ready to use some of the other bells and whistles. All right. And so first, I want to tell you about this fantastic executive team that we have. But I first want to share with you a few things of why it was important. Now, I told you that the teachers unions and the incompetency of the past administration over the last several years and decades has just been horrid. And it brought us to this point where schools in California there were only 40% of the students, and this is an average in the state of California, were meeting the standards in California. This is from 2022. And then in math, even less, 33%. And PYLUSD at the time was no different. They too were in that same area. And people, again, were so, look how good we're doing. And then you'd have this lady by the name of Adamson. She was a superintendent, assistant superintendent. She'd get up and say, look at how many things we're doing. Look how fantastic it is. And then we were looking at it, we're going, but they're not meeting the standards. I'm not sure what you are doing. They were using all kinds of money to bring in all these online training programs, which everybody hated. The kids hate iReady and all these other ones that are coming in. They despise them. But of course, Superintendent Buck and Superintendent Marilyn Anderson and Karen Freeman, they often pushed these things, and we could not figure out why. Now, there had to be a reason, and I'm not sure what it is, but I'm hoping one day that I'm going to find out that there's some reason why they kept using this program that was indoctrinating kids. It had woke aspects to it, and then there were others that they were using, which was definitely making parents' jobs harder to be parents, because these kids were coming home and indoctrinated with, all kinds of nonsense that cops were killing thousands of people, black men every day, to the United States is racist, to white people are racist and should have a lower position in our world, and all the just like really crazy stuff. And so this really had to change, and the parents knew it, not only because the standards weren't being met by the students at a great enough number. We should be in the 90s, right? We should be like 95% to 99% of the students do reach the standard, but no, they were all satisfied that it was 47%. And so we needed to change that. The other thing is that we were losing a lot of employees back then. And so if we just go simply back to 2020 to 2021, 12 principals resigned, retired, or got released. And whether they left to go to other schools or whether they got fired, it was a bloodbath of principals that were being fired at that time. So we brought in and voted for Leandra Blades, Marilyn Anderson, and Sean Youngblood, and things began to change. And you can see over the last couple of years, the number of principals that have resigned, retired, or released has gone down every year. As these people got elected, and then Todd Fraizer got added to that mix. And then eventually we changed superintendents, where Alex Cherniss became our superintendent. And now we're somewhere around 4 to 3. That number in the 23-24, we're not sure yet, at least I'm not sure, but it's still going to be below the 2022-23. And so it just continues to drop. And that is because, again, of the trustees that we brought in that were competent, that cared about education, about putting students first and parents first, and getting out some of the nonsense that was taken away from education. And so it was really important that we brought those people in, and you begin to see the drop of the leadership of these schools begin to become less, as far as people leaving and began to stay, and staff and teachers. And we'll get to those numbers in just a few minutes. And so you have to look at two things. You got the teachers union. They're very interested. The California Teachers Association and progressives are interested in CRT, anti-education curriculum, hate. They're very much into the hate. We see this happening now, just really quick. We see this happening in these groups, these private groups that we have out there, whether it's Yorba Moms or PYL Buzz, that you have the progressives and supporters of the teachers unions. You got people like Bonnie Conte, who are dictators. And if you don't agree with them, they remove you. There's some thought that I'm in those groups. I'm not in either one of those groups. And I know that there's women that have contacted me and says, we agree with what you're saying, but we don't like you being in those groups. And again, I will say this for probably the 10th time now. I'm not in any of those groups. What's happening is moms and some dads are sending me information about what is happening in these groups, that these things are being said, that Leandra Blades who's the president and the trustee of Placentia Yorba Unified School District, is that she's a murderer, that she's all these things, that she's a horrible person, that Alex Cherniss is this horrible guy who's destroying the district, that Todd Fraizer and Youngblood are simply Christian nationalists and bigots and all these things. And these are the things that are happening in these groups. And so they're sending me the information. And of course, people are losing their mind because they're saying, I'm not in these groups. And then what they do, especially this Bonnie Conti, she removes people. And now I think the number last I saw that somebody sent me was something like 50 people have been removed from this group because they don't agree with Bonnie and her tyrants that are all the other tyrants that are in there. And they, if you don't agree with them and you don't believe that Cherniss is all these things and Leandra's all these things and that the district is going to hell in a handbasket, she removes you. You must agree with her or you're gone. And this is what's happening in those groups. And so that's that hate comes from. This hate comes from those people who push these types of things. You got people that want a DEI and porn in libraries, which is very big. They like to say that there's book burnings going on and kids can't read what they want to read. Kids can read whatever they want to read. There's just certain things that aren't allowed in a school library, a public school library, completely different. Gender confusion is huge. They want to shut out parents. They don't want to notify parents when things are happening with their children. And they say the parents should know. What? This is the craziest thing. And then, of course, critical race theory or CRT is really huge. Now, the current PYLUSD and what makes it so great and why principals are not leaving and why teachers are staying, 100% of the teachers are not being removed from our school district, as opposed to other school districts throughout our county and surrounding counties, is that the difference is in current PYLUSD, they're putting parents first. They're doing parent partnerships. They're focused on education, sports and arts, and their future. What is it that we're going to do to be able to make sure these kids are ready for the future? That's the difference between the past administrations. Everything that I told you there is why the grades have been dropping. That's why the standards have had to been lowered. That is why enrollment has decreased over the last several years, and a whole bunch of other problems that are going through. They will tell you in these private groups. And if you don't repeat these things word for word, you'll be removed. They want to tell you that it is chaos. They want to tell you that hundreds of teachers are leaving, which is not true. They want to tell you that hundreds of superintendents and principals and vice principals and staff members are being fired, and that everybody's scared for their job. That's what they say in these groups, and that's what they want to be. That's what they want everybody to repeat. And if you bring it up in a show like mine, they say, "Look at that guy. He's creepy. He's a horrible person." And they take my videos and chop them up and then send them to my children. And then they threaten my children. And then they've already threatened my business. They've gone on to Google comments and not comments, what is it, ratings or whatever it is, and you got the other places, and they go on there pretending they're customers of mine and saying that my business is horrible and never go there. That is what they do, and so that is the way that it is. So let me get to the fun stuff, though. I want to make sure and introduce you to the people that are making PYLUSD great, and I should have just said making it great, because again, I'm not sure if it's ever been this great. So it's great again, but even more. And so we got Dr. Alex Cherniss, the great staff, or the great three trustees, which I'll introduce to you in a second, are the reason Mr. Dr. Dr. Alex Cherniss is here. He's a superintendent of school. He is amazing. Don't say that very often about very many people, but Dr. Alex Cherniss has been doing such a fantastic job since he's been here, and will continue to do so. And he's taking all kinds of, putting in all kinds of new programs, which I'm going to share with you in just a minute. And I can't say enough about this man, but he's brought in some great executive staff, and the school board has approved most of them. It's only the other two, which is Marilyn and Buck. They decided to say no in regard to our first Black superintendent. Apparently, they didn't like that he was going to be on one of the superintendents, but he's fantastic. I'll introduce you to him in a minute. other than those two, they've approved the executive staff that is just going to make these things great. It's fantastic. So, and now here we go. So here are the at least 6. There's more. Now there's other people. I didn't have their pictures, and I'm not quite sure where they work and that kind of stuff. So just understand that this is the foundation. So with every building, I'm going to take this down for. With every building, you have a foundation, right? You have the base, and then everything gets built up off of that. I would say for us here at PYLUSD, this is the foundation. This is what's making our district great and sound and solid. And it'll only go up from here because of this foundation. And so bringing this back up again is that we have Dr. Isaac. I may have that misspelt there. I thought I copied and pasted it, but I think there's 2 S's and not 1. But Isaac Gates, Dr. Isaac Gates, sorry if I misspelled it, is the deputy superintendent, which again, the other 2, Buck in Maryland, said no, they didn't want him to be the deputy superintendent. Who knows why? Because his CV, which is probably much longer than this. I mean, he's been assistant superintendent of human resources at PYLUSD for a few months. He's been the executive director of curriculum and instruction at Inglewood USD, which really greatly improved their school district. He was the principal of San Marino High School, a great high school, led San Marino High School to be the -- academically achieving high school in the state of California for 3 consecutive years. So why? Why this is what tells you why Marilyn Anderson and Carrie Buck are incompetent and horrible people. You got this great man. I could care less what color he is. I could care less where he grew up. I could care less about anything else. Is he a great leader for our school district? That's what's important. How do I know he's a great leader? Because he took San Marino High School to be #1 academically achieving high school in the state of California for 3 consecutive stinking years. He's an outstanding administrator of the year award for the Los Alamitos Unified School District. He just why Maryland? Why Carrie? Would you not vote for that? They voted no, a strong no, by the way. It wasn't just no, we're not really sure. No, it was no. We don't want him, both of them, and there he is. So we got, sorry, I spent a long time. We got Gary Stein, amazing. He's the first guy, he's the first administrative superintendent who was able to come up and give a presentation on where the money is at and where it's coming from and what we need to be concerned about in the future, just recently in a recent school board meeting. And he was the first superintendent that's been able to do that competently and where it made sense. In the past, everybody in the room said, there's no way, these numbers that don't add up. And then we also learned recently that there's millions of dollars that was it's just simply missing from the past administration, and a whole lot of other things has been discovered because of not just Mr. Stein, but because of the willingness of the superintendent to look into some of the things that have been going on in the school district, and they're finding a lot of nonsense. You'll be hearing more about that in future shows. Is just not good for some of our past administration and the like. So Gary Stein, amazing. Dr. Olivia Young has been in our school district for a while. Again, I think I misspelled her name too. I'm so sorry. She's an assistant superintendent of educational services. I apparently went to a public school. That's why I misspell things. So you got Dr. Olivia Young, amazing. She's been with our district for a very long time. She is incredible. I'll bring up some of her credentials here. She's director of human resources. She's a high school principal. She was a high school principal, assistant high school principal, athletic director, AVID coordinator, math and reading intervention teacher, and a basketball coach. So well-rounded for our group of superintendents. Then, of course, we have our superintendents, or our trustees, of the school board. We got Leandra Blades, who's the president currently of the school board. You got Todd Fraizer, an accountant. Leandra Blades was a police officer. Todd Fraizer, an accountant. Or CPA. I know I get those wrong. I think the CPA is way more important than an accountant. And then you have Sean Youngblood, who's a fireman. And so we have some fantastic people as school board members and trustees. Amazing. Those 6 people, foundation, including the superintendent, Alex Cherniss. And some amazing things are happening. So let me just get to this. I'm going to try to keep this as short as possible so that everybody can share it out, and we'll be sure people watch it. And I know I say that every time, but it doesn't happen. But so here, let me just give you an idea of what's happening. And I'm going to share some of this information some of the websites, I'm sorry, that go along with some of this information. So here we have, so making PYLUSD great again, putting students first, which has not been done in a very, very long time. Most of the superintendents have put themselves first. They've taken money away from student programs to give themselves raises. It didn't go back into the school. Now, again, you're going to see in these private groups, a letter just came out from a woman by the name of, what's her name? Mary Cummings, apparently. And she's on a tirade. I received several pages of this message she sent out talking about how things are just going, to hell in a handbasket in the district, and asking retired teachers to contact graduated students to protest and to come to the school board meeting to talk about the nonsense that they've created, talking about how hundreds of principals have been fired and teachers are going to be fired. And it says here, this is a call to arms. Retirees have tremendous clout in the schools district. We are respected, connected, and untouchable. This are her words. There is nothing that the district can hold over our heads. We can be fearless. These are the people this is the reason. Remember those numbers I just showed you? Remember the decline of how they were all, principals were being removed and fired. And that was okay when they were doing it. But now for some reason, when nobody's leaving, when everybody's staying, they need to come in and call to arms. And they say do it because they can be fearless, because there's no reason for them to be, or there's no way that they can be fired. And this goes on. This is a long letter. I'll make sure and bring this up in later broadcasts, but it is incredible. So back to this. So what I say the parents that voted in these 3 trustees and were able to get this executive board in there, is that the new staff and the new PYLUSD is put in as a parent partnership that voted for parents' rights, and they put parents first, along with students first. So parent partnerships and parent rights were just voted in, which is the reason they voted over in OUSD, Orange Unified School District, those 2 trustees out, because the California Teachers Association, along with Planned Parenthood, I know that drives people crazy when I say that, but they were very involved financially in getting 2 trustees, sorry, I keep doing that, trustees removed and recalled. The community did not. It was essentially the teachers unions that did it, and because they wanted parents' rights. But what we were able to do here is get parents' rights voted through. We have the Orange County School of Computer Sciences, which is going to be coming through, that it formerly known as Bernardo Yorba. It still is until next year. It'll be called the Orange County School of Computer Sciences. That is a charter school that will have little to no influence from the Teachers Association, which is welcome. And it's going to be non-common core. And it's going to be 6th, 7th, 8th, and 6th, 7th, and 8th grade is what's going to be involved there at the Computer Sciences. If I'm getting any of this wrong, make sure and let me know there in the chat. And so, oh, sorry, I'm reading a message here that somebody wanting to say hi to me. Okay, and so the next one is Universal Sports Institute. Oh man, this is driving people crazy. The Universal Sports Institute is an amazing idea that has been done by other school districts, but it's going to be coming here, the PYLUSD, which is a sports institute for children that are in the online teaching and the homeschooling programs that PYLUSD offers. And then students from the other high schools and middle schools can go there to get extra training and recovery from some of the great resources that they're going to have there, whether it's cryotherapy or other therapist types of things that are going to be done there. Again, the list is big. Let me see if I can grab some of the information off of the website here. Let's see. Universal Sports Institute is an educational and sports performance program, part of Parkview School in the Placentia Yorba Unified School District. USI serves student athletes in the PYLUSD and throughout Southern California. The USI campus is located in Yorba, California. USI will elevate your game and empower your future through a free, customizable athletic and academic development experience for students in grades 3 through 12. I didn't know it was 3 through 12. 3 through 12. I have actually more information that I got recently, and I'll be sharing more about that again, in the interest of keeping this short, it is an amazing. Don't listen to the tyrants in these private groups. Don't listen to the teachers union. This money is being used the money being used to create it is being used. The money being used is from development funds. Development funds can only be used for developing something new, which they don't seem to understand. Again, these people are not very smart. They're incompetent. The two school board members, trustees, Carrie and Marilyn, they can't grasp mentally, again, what goes behind this and how the money can be used. They just simply don't get it, and they keep spreading lies about it. And it's, again, understand that they know what they're doing. Alex Cherniss knows what he's doing. When you hire people to do a job and you hire them based on their knowledge and what they've done in the past and what they're able to do now, you just need to trust them in many ways. And until you can't, continue to trust them. And I'll be looking into it. I'll tell you if something happens where there's a hiccup. And I'm sure Alex wants that. He wants people to make sure and take a look at everything that he's doing to make sure that he's crossing all of his T's and dotting his I's. All right. So then we have the middle school sports, which has just been added. Thanks to Leandra Blades. She's the one who really led this effort, that now we have middle school sports. We have sports back in middle schools, which has not happened in a very, very long time. There was just a wrestling match just yesterday, I believe, that it was standing room only inside of, I think it was held at Placentia High School, and it was packed with wrestlers and excitement from middle school. Tuffrey, which is where most of my kids have gone to middle school, I guess really lit up the room with the number of kids that they had and signs and just were very, very motivated. And so I'm so happy about that. But track and field has come to the middle school, and I think soccer and some other stuff, if they haven't already, are going to be coming to the middle school. And again, thanks to Leandra Blades, this is happening. Again, people like to say so many lies about her, but she has done so many amazing things along with Sean and Todd that she just doesn't get enough credit. So thanks to Leandra Blades, the middle school sports are back. Expansion of preschool. I'm not sure whose idea with this, but I heard it first from Dr. Alex Cherniss. And now the preschool programs have expanded to a number of the schools, if not all the schools. And so that will increase attendance at our schools, not attendance, but enrollment at our schools a great deal. And that is welcome because every enrollment means a little bit more money to the district. Expansion of the arts. I've been hearing about some of this. My middle school or my elementary school son just was a part of a choir event. And again, it was actually held at Valencia again. I'm not sure why everything's being held at Valencia, but it is. But it was standing room only. All the kids in these different schools, middle schools, high schools, and elementary schools were up there singing and smiling. You had special needs kids up there. And the director of this whole program got up there and said he wanted to thank the executive board and the trustees for expanding the arts like they have been doing. And so, again, I think this is just a great program. If you would have seen the smiles and how happy everybody was and the parents cheering and taking pictures, it was fantastic. Lights at Eldorado High School Stadium. That has been something that has not been done. Again, we have such incompetent past executive staff. They were never able to get Eldorado lights at the stadium at one of our greatest high schools in the district. And they have this stadium in there with no lights that they could not utilize at night. But Alex Cherniss comes in, and a few days after he comes in, lights at Eldorado. Like he could do something in days where for decades, other school superintendents and district superintendents and school board members simply could not get done. And they had every excuse why they couldn't get it done. But Alex Cherniss comes in, and a couple days later, lights. at Eldorado High School. Walls between classrooms at Travis Ranch. Now, you got to listen to this for 1 second. The classrooms at Travis Ranch, there was this one building, and they had 4 classrooms in one building, and it wasn't a big building, right? And you had 4 classrooms, 4 teachers, 4 classrooms full of kids, and teaching different subjects and at different levels. And there were no walls to separate these classes. Now, I just learned with an interview with Leandra Blades that this had gone on for 20-something years that she knows of, maybe 23 years. For 23 years, people have been saying we need to put walls in. The teachers unions, who you would think, again, this is the incompetency of the APLE and their disinterest in actually supporting children and supporting teachers. They don't. They only support their power over the school districts. They did not think, hey, you know what? It must be really hard for those 4 teachers to teach in a room where they're competing with each other and the children's voices are competing with each other. And for 23 years, at least that's what I was told, the teachers union, as one of the people that should have been speaking up, did nothing. But parents were saying, why is this situation continuing every school year for 23 years? Again, Dr. Alex Cherniss comes in a couple days later. They got rooms. I mean, they got walls in between each one of the classrooms. Wow, what a concept. And so there's walls now between the 4 classrooms in this one room in Travis Ranch. Incredible. And we banned CRT throughout the district, which then in this letter I just read, it mentioned that when CRT got banned, and probably parents' rights added to this later on, but when CRT got banned, Cal State Fullerton decided we're not sending any more student teachers to Placentia, Yorba. We're so busy teaching our student teachers here at Cal State Fullerton that we're so busy teaching them CRT, critical race theory. But now they can't come to your school and teach because they only know critical race theory. They don't know how to teach. And so we don't want to expose them to the fact that when they get into the classroom in front of a bunch of kids, in front of a leader teacher, perhaps, because they're going to come in as student teachers, that we don't want you to see that they don't know how to teach. We don't want you to see that they only know how to indoctrinate children with all of those things, DEI and sexual indoctrination and pornography in school. They only know how to promote those things, our students, because we've been spending 3-4 years teaching them about CRT. So we're going to refuse to send them to PYLUSD. And every parent that I know have said, thank God. Thank you for not forcing us to have your student teachers at PYLUSD. In this letter, though, that I just read some of it to you, Mary Cummings, she's saying, it's in here somewhere. I don't know if I can find it fast enough to share it with you, but because it's really rich that she writes this in there. I'm not going to find it really fast. The writing's too small and I don't have my glasses on. So her big argument is that they must all band together and all they must arm themselves, whatever she said, because Cal State Fullerton is no longer setting student teachers and nobody cares. No, the parents don't care. The other teachers that are doing the right thing don't care because what ends up happening is you got these teachers that have been taught by Cal State Fullerton that they only know how to indoctrinate kids. They don't know how to teach. And now they have to spend all their time. No, you have to do this. 2 + 2 = 4. 2 + 2 does not equal 5. 2 + 2 doesn't equal Johnny, you're racist. And so they'd have to spend all their time with these Cal State Fullerton so-called teachers trying to fix everything that Cal State Fullerton taught them. And it's far too much work. Let's just hire some of the teachers that are being fired by all the districts around us, because if I think there's something like 110 being fired at Anaheim Unified School District. So you got 110. You would think maybe 3 of the teachers out of Anaheim Unified School District are maybe really good and maybe aren't woke and aren't interested in teaching CRT or DEI and all these other things. That you would be able to get 3 out of that. You got San Diego, who's firing, I think, in the neighborhood of somewhere 500 teachers or something like that, and maybe more. You would be able to find 7 or 8 great teachers coming out of San Diego that would be willing to work at PYLUSD. Not that we were going to need them because the enrollment is growing, which is I'm going to share with you next, is that you can get teachers that have been in the business where they're experienced instead of these new students where you're having to retrain them. And so you got these students or teachers with experience that we can pull from all these teachers that are being fired. In LA, I mean, gosh, you got thousands of teachers that are being fired because of lack of enrollment. So that's happening all around us. The only place that's not happening, which I'm going to share with you just now. So we have no teachers that we're losing to budget issues. And the reason I put it that way is because what if a teacher messes up and steals something and gets caught? They'll be fired for that. But we have no teachers that are just being let go because they can't afford to keep them. There's not a a large number of teachers that are being fired like there is in districts around us. We have the fewest numbers of lost principals and support staff in years, as I showed you in that graph. We have increased enrollment for the first time in years. So that's the first time in years. And again, as opposed to the districts around us that are losing students, because you know why? Some of them are coming to PYLUSD. That's where our enrollment is increasing, because they see what's happening with Dr. Cherniss and his executive staff and the 3 trustees. You got these families that live in the areas very close to us and around us, see what's happening in their school districts, and they're going, you know what? I've heard good things happening at PYLUSD, and they're coming and they're enrolling their children into our district. And with that, again, now we're going to have a need probably for more teachers and more classrooms and that kind of stuff. And so understand that those things are going to happen. And we have the new, new schools that are going to be, or they're already maxed out. So the computer science school is already maxed out. There's a waiting list for children to get in there. And so they're going to have to do something. That's the point. All right. Then we have Dr. Cherniss invites and welcomes innovative ideas and solutions from not only people that work for PYLSD, but from parents. We have these great meetings once a month. High school parents that get to meet once a month with Dr. Cherniss on a Zoom call, and middle school parents and elementary school parents. They get on and they talk about what's happening in the schools and what's happening in the district. And some of the parents come up with some great ideas, and Dr. Cherniss and his staff will look into it and think about it and maybe consider it to add to the benefits that are happening within the PYLUSD. And then there's more. There's so much more happening that I could probably go on for another hour talking about what's happening here. I've already gone on for 35 minutes. I told you I was going to keep this short, but there is more happening, and positive things that are happening. Do not, again, I implore you, do not, if you hear in any of these places, somebody like Bonnie Conti, or I don't know, she's a hoot. she's kicking people off of her private group. She's saying that it's a safe space for moms, and that I'm this horrible person because I call people names. And I've been pretty good about not calling. If you've heard me before, I've really not called anybody really bad names. I just say people are incompetent when they're incompetent. When it's truthful, then that's just saying what they are. They're just incompetent people. And so when you hear and you're in these groups, and again, I get so many messages from people that they're saying, again, I'm just going to repeat these because you got to be aware of what it is they're trying to do. They talk about how horrible Leandra and Todd and Sean are, and that Dr. Alex Cherniss was a failure at all these other places. Again, I've heard these things, that he was a failure in all these places that he's been before. That Isaac is going to probably do. I haven't heard anything bad about him. It's hard to talk bad about Isaac, but I'm sure somebody said something bad about him, or Olivia, whatever it is. The executive staff, and when they talk about PYLUSD, they're talking about this group of people, and they're saying that the teachers are scared. I have yet to have a teacher contact me, because I have lots of teachers that contacted me and said how happy they are. They're happy that I do these shows. They're happy with what's happening with the trustees, the 3 trustees, not the other 2. They're happy with Alex Cherniss. Alex Cherniss goes and meets all the teachers and they all say, wow, he's such a nice guy. Everybody else has been telling me what a tyrant he is and what a horrible person he is. And yet, they're doing this in these private groups to such a great extent that it does get out to some parents who just don't have time to vet it out. And I've been contacted by parents that are that middle too. So I get contacted by parents who are sharing screenshots of things or just sending me emails about what's being said. Like this letter that's, from this woman that haven't figured out who she is yet, Mary Cummings. I'm going to hopefully find out soon who she is. I'm sure she has something to do with teachers unions or something like that. But they're talking about mass layoffs. In that letter, she talks about mass layoffs. There's not mass layoffs. They keep repeating it. They're hoping if they repeat it, that people, and back to the parents that really don't have time, that's what I actually went to go to, is that you have parents that go, I've been hearing all this stuff. I can't tell you, I think I've had 10 in the last 3 days. They either text me or email or call me, or send me a voice recording in Messenger. And it says, hey, Andy, I know that you have been paying attention to these things. I know that you go to school board meetings, but I hear that there's mass layoffs. And I wonder why that is. And so they believe it. because that's all they've ever heard because of maybe the specific groups that they like to hang out with. And people like Bonnie Conte understand that. They know that. They know if they only allow people that will repeat their lies, that somebody like this parent who called me will believe it. And it's not because they're horrible. That parent is horrible. It's just because they're busy, taking their kids to doctor's appointments and to sports and to, events and cooking dinner or going out to dinner or what have you. And so they don't have time to vet all of this information out. So they come to me and they say, what's going on? And I say, there's no mass layoffs. No teachers are being laid off because of, budgetary issues. We're not losing tons of principals. I think there's only 2 or 3, which is the lowest it's been in years. And they go, wait a minute, then what are they talking about? And I go, who knows? What did all those kids walk out for at Esperanza? And I go, I don't know, because none of it's true. Well, how come the students were lied to? That's the kind of people they are. These people don't mind lying to children. This is how horrible they are. They love lying to children. They love getting them to do their dirty work. They hide behind children. They use anonymous names. They use fake names like Panda Bear or Love Means Love or PYL Buzz. Those are their code names. And they get these children to believe them and then push them out there and say, walk out because there's mass layoffs. And then they don't find out, they go, oh, there was no mass layoffs. Oh, well, we got everybody to walk out. Not a big deal. And so it creates this idea that some of these things are happening. So all that to say, don't listen to them. If you do have any questions, feel free to contact me, but I would say it's probably better to contact Alex Cherniss or Leandra Blades or Sean Youngblood or Todd Fraizer. They'll be happy to set you straight and show you proof. Again, the only other thing these people can't do is they can't show you proof of any of these things. They don't have it, but they will say that that it's happening. It's much like this teacher at Esperanza the other day. She was in a group, apparently, and she just ranted about Leandra Blades and called her a murderer. So you have a teacher who either is so busy with her teaching stuff that she just believed what she's being told by the teachers union or being told by Bonnie Conte or these other people that Leandra Blades, she was a police officer who got involved in an officer-involved shooting. She was doing her job with a man who was armed with a knife. And yet you have a teacher at Esperanza in a meeting with other teachers and other people in it and said, did you know Leandra Blades is, I'm not sure the exact words, but in the end, because this is what another teacher told me, is that she was ranting about how Leandra was a murderer and why we listened to her and why, that's her quotes. Why do we listen to Leandra Blades? She's a murderer. And so these things are just crazy. So the group, this foundation of executive staff at PYLUSD and the 3 trustees are doing amazing work. This school district is just going to flourish. I promise you, if you give them the support that they deserve, if you give them time, even though things are moving very quick, that's the other down. They're moving very fast because they have to. But if you just give them just a little bit of time, not a lot, a little bit of time, you're going to see that PYLUSD will be the shining beacon on the hill, the shining school district on the hill that other school districts will look to and say, you know what, we want to be like PYLUSD. Just give it time. Support Alex Cherniss, support the trustees, the 3, Sean Youngblood, Leandra Blades, and Todd Fraizer. Support the executive staff, Mr. Stein and Ms. Young, and Alex Cherniss and everybody else. Who did I leave out? Mr. Gates, Dr. Gates. Support them. Pat them on the back, shake their hand, say thank you for putting children and parents first. And you won't be sorry. I promise you, you won't be sorry. I'll be the first one to say I am sorry if they don't, but I know that I won't to have to say that. All right, my friends, I hope this has been helpful, and I will see you at the next one. Take care. Talk to you later. Bye.